what it's.
Yeah, that's fine, that's fine, yeah.
Well, that clock doesn't work. What time is it?
Uh,
7:19 or some 7:22. Lee, you don't have that on, do you? You did. It said something about recording in progress.
yeah, I know. 1 minute.
It's 100%, I think this is by the one.
Okay, this is my one. Yeah, I'm telling you. It's a-
People just sign.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Get back here after a while. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. To the republic for which it stands, one nation.
Sometime.
People think it means it's from to do the microphone.
I know, I was gonna move it forward, but.
I said, no, we shouldn't try to move this.
Okay,
But get out of the way.
okay.
Okay, Amy, you sent us minutes. Right? No, you didn't.
No.
We're not, because it's not a regular meeting, we're not gonna be doing minutes.
Yep.
Okay, on to correspondence. I think I have forwarded all these letters to every member of the board. If not, Amy has a copy with her. August 26th from Kathy Wyden, unauthorized use of New York public engineer. Professional engineer, excuse me. August 27th from Julie Brennan, Drew Davidoff, offices. Special use permit, Bridge Street rooftop. August 27th, Town of Tustin Planning Board, REO Upper Delaware Hospitality, special use permit approval from the meeting on 9/11. Town of Tustin, reference to the report of fraud from Charles G. Woods, architect. 9/7 from Kathy Lyden, letter to the planning board. 9/8, another letter from Kathy Lyden to the planning board. And 9/10, another letter to the planning board from Kathy Lyden. Okay, we're up to old business. Now, how do we start? Do we have a letter?
Well, yeah, let me, look. Can I?
Yep.
Sure. Okay, so as I think the board is aware, can I have that? Yeah,
Yeah, there you go.
back,
For this.
well,
Sorry.
we received an email. Ken and I received an email as it was addressed us and others, on August 26th, informing us that the engineer's report that was at least partially relied upon by the planning board in making its determination on June 30th to approve the application for the amendment of the Upper Delaware Hospitality Special Use Permit, was fraudulent. The engineer who actually has that license, that name, informed us all that he had nothing to do with that. And you've all been shared and received the copy of that email since, and you know what it said. I went, and upon receipt of that, I reached out to Ken and we spoke about it that day and decided that it would be probably best to connect with the rest of you and schedule a special meeting to consider what to happen as a result of that rather disturbing information. I also contacted the fellow who sent the engineer who sent us that email just to verify that he was actually the guy, because at that point, you know, you're starting this kind of information. Who do you believe, right? But, the guy was genuine, and that is not his work product, and he was crystal clear about it, and he's referred it to the state ed department for whatever they might do about it. I know the matter has also been referred on behalf of the town to the authorities, the district attorney's office, for investigation, because clearly the misappropriation of a professional engineer's license and seal and for that matter his being It should be, I'm sure is a crime, and it should be investigated, and if they can determine who and why, they should be prosecuted. But that's not our issue. Our issue is we've got a decision that was made, and that decision was made based upon a false pretense that was presented to the board. So Ken and I thought that the thing to do was to get the board together with a view towards contemplating rescinding that approval, since it's based on that. And that's why we're here tonight, is for you guys to talk about that. In pursuance of that consideration, I did generate and provide to Ken, and I know that Ken shared it all with all of you, and you've all had it and had an opportunity to review it, an actual resolution to accomplish that, if that is ultimately the pleasure of the board. Obviously, I've only spoken to Ken, I haven't spoken to the rest of you, and I don't know what your sense or consensus is, or might be. Well, that I think is where we're at this point.
In the matter of expediency, I make a motion that we adopt that resolution.
Well, if you're gonna do that, and that's.
I'm going to excuse myself. Barry, you should too. Okay, so I'm gonna step away.
All right, so let's let the minutes reflect that Mary and Barry recused themselves and stepped away from the table. And in view of that, I would suggest that, well, while you guys have all had the benefit in advance of this resolution, there are people from the public here. And before you actually act on it and move on it, I'll read it out loud so everybody has the benefit of what it says. If that's okay.
I'm unavailable as a reader tonight.
Well, I'll do it. Mary is our usual reader. Is on the back of the room. So I can do it. All right, so the resolution reads as follows. Whereas the planning board of the town of Tustin, New York, and hereinafter referred to as the planning board, previously filed an application of Upper Delaware Hospitality, was referred to as the applicant, for approval of an amendment to an existing eating and drinking establishment special use permit and site plan approval with respect to premises located at 174 Bridge Street in Narrowsburg, being town of Tustin tax map parcel 10-2-4, which is going to be hereinafter referred to as the premises, which amendment is sought to authorize the addition of a rooftop deck above the existing eating and drinking establishment, and we're going to refer to that as the project. Whereas the planning board, by resolution adopted on June 30, 2025, granted the aforesaid application with conditions. And whereas, as reflected by the aforesaid resolution, the planning board relied in part in reaching the determination set forth therein upon a report purportedly signed and sealed by a New York State licensed engineer certifying, as of June 19, 2025, that the structure that is the subject of the approval granted by the planning board on June 30, 2025, had been thoroughly evaluated to verify its structural integrity. And whereas the engineer, whose name and license number appears on the aforesaid engineer's report, has informed the planning board by email dated August 26, 2025, that such engineer's report was not authored by him and is the result of a fraudulent and unauthorized use of his license. And whereas, upon receipt of the aforesaid email, the chairman of the planning board informed the members of the planning board of its content and scheduled a special meeting of the planning board to be held on September 11, 2025, to consider any action to be taken as a consequence thereof. And whereas the planning board has discussed and considered the information that has been provided to it concerning that fraudulent nature of the above mentioned engineer's report, upon which it relied in part in granting the approval of an amendment to the applicant's existing eating and drinking establishment special use permit and site plan approval with respect to the premises. Now, therefore, the following resolution of the planning board was offered in the name of whoever is, if this is going to be moved, will be inserted, who moved its adoption, and seconded by whoever it is, if it's going to be seconded. To it, resolved that the planning board does hereby revoke, rescind, and annul in its entirety the approval granted by it of the amendment to the applicant's existing eating and drinking establishment special use permit and site plan approval as memorialized in the resolution of the planning board adopted with respect thereto on June 30, 2025. That's the entirety of the resolution.
Okay, we have a resolution. You made the motion, Brendan.
Absolutely.
Who wishes to second?
I will second the
Okay.
adoption of the
All right,
resolution.
we have a motion on the floor with a second. We've heard the resolution. Is there any further comment by board members?
The only thing I would say is that, and indicated there obviously is some
criminality involved in the process, and I'm happy to see that it's being referred to and investigated by the proper authorities. We don't have that authority to do that ourselves. But glad to see that people who can and should be looking into it have the case.
Okay. All in favor, Mike?
Aye.
Aye. Peter? Biden?
Aye.
Benny? Okay, carried. So the motion is rescinded at this point. We have no new business that we're going to bring up at this meeting. Any further comment by board members? Engineer request this.
Are we entering executive
If
session?
someone cares to make a motion to do that.
I will make the motion that we enter into executive session
For
for the period. Or
No,
the,
it's not a public hearing.
there is no, it's not a public hearing.
For the, we have to say for the purpose
For the
of
purpose
discussing.
Discussing, ongoing litigation.
You're
Got a second on that?
What?
Well, what litigation?
Well, that's not us to tell you.
There's an Article 78, as you're well aware.
But
There's
that's not all to the fraudulence. This is fraudulence.
No, the planning board is a party respondent to an Article 78 proceeding commenced by you folks. And they have every right to go into executive session to discuss that pending litigation.
Okay. I thought
Okay.
it was only about the fraudulence.
No, we're not going to,
That's
that's
done.
done, that's done, it's over, it's done.
Okay, we have a motion on the
Can I
floor.
ask a question?
Is there a second?
Yes, I'll second.
Okay. We have a motion on the floor to go into executive session. Any further discussion? Seconded? Aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Well, thank you, folks. That's it
My
for tonight.
question is, my understanding is the Sullivan County District Attorney is a close personal relative of a supervisor.
So,
I
he
just,
can't do his job?
oh, there's all kinds of recusals
Well,
going on.
Well, you know something, that would be something to take up with the Sullivan County District
Okay,
Attorney's
thank you.
Office. Certainly, that's not within the jurisdiction of the planning.
I'm just making mention of it,
And
right?
it's not, there's no public comment, it's not a public hearing.
I'm not making a comment, I am.
I will comment that the engineer, Mr. Anderson's professional engineering skill was stolen and used inappropriately. Also, his signature was forged.
He told us that.
That's another crime.
He told, well, that's not up to us.
Not yet, not until everybody leaves.
That's up to the DA to
Or do you-
pursue that.
We're done.
or You're going into executive.
We're going to executive